What comes into your mind when you hear about mental disorder? Today in Youth Root, we'll be going deep and discussing about mental disorders. These are disorders that are affecting all generation, not only youths. And sometimes you might think that they're just lifestyles, they're just the way we do things, and yet it is a disorder, and yet it is an illness. So today we'll be going deep into it. Come with me today as we discuss matters to do with the mental disorders. Here with me is the doctor I told you earlier that we'll be having the show, Youth Root, whom I will welcome him to introduce himself and tell us more about himself. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so you can kindly introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, I'm Robin. I am a doctor and a passionate advocate of mental health and psychiatry. I am happy today to be with you so that we can share some facts and figures on how we are going to handle this kind of a situation which is affecting very many young people in our society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So prepare today to get more about mental illness or about mental illness and psychiatry. You can also keep the conversation flowing from wherever you are. Remember, Facebook is Youth Root, Twitter @Wafula_Quinto, hashtag Youth Root. Also, YouTube is Quinto. You will be getting this video. So, right away, let's go, or let's start over. What is mental illness?
When that question comes into a mind of any person, you will try to look at it in different point of views. Because just before we define it, you see, mental health is something which started a long time ago. We can say that actually mental health is as old as mankind. Because even we can look at the aspects in the Bible, people like Saul, this guy was spirit possessed. When we look at what was happening in the traditional African society, whereby when people were spirit possessed, when some of them probably they were beating drums so that they can be able to chase away those spirits. So when you look at those facts, in the traditional African society, you will find that these people, they linked mental health with different facts like the supernatural powers, the magical powers, and even witchcraft. So over the ages now, mental health has really evolved, and in the current society, actually, mental health is a big issue. Because if you could now try to go deep into mental health, you realize that almost every person is suffering from a mental illness. Because we have very many mental disorders, to the extent that if you can just be careful to go through each and every of them, you realize that at least 10, around 9 people out of 10, they will be suffering from a mental illness.
So can we associate also being spirit possessed with mental illness?
Sure.
So what is the definition of mental illness?
Actually, let me first define mental health. You see, mental health, according to the World Health Organization, you realize that a definition of health is like, now we can say, it's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being without necessary absence of a disease or illness. So when we are talking about mental health, it is actually the same definition, but now it's now in all matters which are related to the mind and like our thinking and all that.
I was about to ask you who can suffer from mental illness, but now you tell me like everyone can suffer from mental illness.
Sure.
So the answer is that everyone can suffer from mental illness.
Every person, children, like it is not irrespective of ages, irrespective of any age. Children, young people, old people, they can suffer.
You had mentioned about being spirit possessed or being possessed. So what are these some of different types of mental illness?
Types of mental illness. We have a huge variety. Even just as I started by telling you that probably every person is suffering from mental illness, but based on the society we are living in, maybe I will discuss the ones which are very common and the ones which are affecting most of us. We have personality disorders, we have delusional disorders, we have even organic disorders, we have disorders like schizophrenia. There are very many disorders to the extent that if we start talking about them one by one, we could not finish. But let's discuss some few. I will start with schizophrenia. Schizophrenia actually is a disease which affects very many young people. And if you will see it, schizophrenia actually, it was discovered in 1809. And there is one of these guy called B. Morrell who described it after he had found in a young person. The young person was suffering from that disease, and he described it as actually demens. It was demens precoce. And you see from that point, it was the first now in 1911 whereby the word schizophrenia was coined. And actually this person whom we call, the person who described the same now during that person is called Bleuler. And this guy actually described this thing and he defined it in a manner that it is the fragmentation of the mind, the split of the split of the mind, whereby your thought process are not organized. So you will find many people who are suffering from schizophrenia. There are people who cannot pay attention. There are people who they have disorganized thought processes, whereby they cannot think for a very long time. These are kind of people whom actually they have certain attribute which does not allow them to tolerate. Like, let's say you cannot talk bad about them. They are irritative. They are the kind of people who they don't have that kind of a schedule, you see. So those are basically the effects of schizophrenia. You will see they cannot tolerate any kind of a schedule. Like they cannot come up with a timetable and they follow it to the latter, you see. So there are people who are always, they always find a way of doing their own things, and they want to appreciate it that way, because they want to separate themselves from the other group of people. Apart from schizophrenia, which people are suffering from it in our society, the major thing is actually depression. You see, many people are really suffering from depression. Depression has become a major problem in our society, and if actually could look at the statistics of World Health Organization last year, you will find that Kenya was ranked number 6 in Africa among the countries which has most cases of depression. And you see another statistical sample from the same staff actually gave us an overview that you will see women are suffering more than men. And because now maybe we can link it to things like hormonal imbalance. You see women are the one who go through traumatic events, even childbirth. Those things, they can actually lead to, they make them to become more vulnerable to the same kind of conditions. Apart from that one, you see again, probably they are considered, most of the time you can find they are the ones who go through a lot of social violences. And those are the things now which we can now actually relate. And it might be one of the causes which is making these people, this gender actually to go through that kind of a disease. You will find from there, basically if I can say something about depression, you will find depression is a kind of disease whereby...
So depression also is under a type of mental illness?
Yeah, depression is under types of mental illness. You find depression, a person who has depression, sometimes you can have depression and you don't know.
Sure.
You might find someone just sleeping a lot. Someone is just overly weak. Someone is lazy, he cannot concentrate. So like you can be depressed and you don't know. And the reason why you will find probably even like now in our society young people might be going through that one a lot, maybe due to sufferings like for example, maybe even someone does not have school fees and he has been disowned. Maybe again you can look at it in a point whereby someone has failed exams, a relationship matters. These are the things which are really causing people even to have suicidal thoughts. And it starts from depression. The moment the aspect of depression comes in, someone becomes hopeless. So the moment now you are hopeless, you see, hopelessness now is something, hope is something which is very important in the life of a person. Because when you have hope, at least you have a direction of where you want to go. Now the moment something comes in and it makes you to be hopeless, you can now explore on other options. What can I do so that I can? Of course, the mind can never be blank. that portion of the mind which you have left it blank is going to be filled by other things. And that is when now the suicidal thoughts are going to come in. And you'll find even these people killing themselves. You'll find even people killing their boyfriends and their girlfriends. They are killing each other because of relationship issues. Why? Because, you see, these are people who don't have hope. And at the same time, depression has put them in that kind of a capacity. And it has started actually, you can look at like the effects, for example, things like drug abuse. When young people are deep into it, you see they are going to lose definitely. And what will take them there, it is because they have lacked hope. Apart from that one, by the way, let me touch on personality disorders. It is quite funny but that you see at the end of something like personality disorders, you will realize that probably every person is suffering from a mental illness. Even you will realize, well, you are suffering from one. Maybe you are suffering from one. Personality disorders, actually, we have a huge variety of it. We have the different clusters of the personality disorders. And myself, I was trying to, at some point, I was trying to look at it and to see now where can I place myself. When you look at something like antisocial, we have a personality disorder called antisocial. These antisocial, these are people who are socially detached. Like they want to be themselves. They don't want even to talk with other people.
I know that is lifestyle.
No,
It is a disorder.
It is a disorder. It's a disorder. It's not lifestyle. It is a disorder. You will find another personality disorder like histrionic. We have histrionic personality disorder. These are people who are attention seekers. You will find this kind of people, they want to be seen everywhere.
Now that is called?
It is histrionic personality disorder. They want to be seen everywhere. When they are in a congregation, they are the ones who want to to make the greatest impact. You see? So that is a personality disorder. There is another one called paranoid. Paranoid personality disorder is actually people who are always suspicious. And you see someone is just suspicious, like now you are suspicious people are talking about you when you don't even know about it. You are suspicious people don't love you. You see, like there are thoughts in your mind. You see, so someone is just suspicious with everything. So sometimes even he can even attack you and you have been talking very much about it, of which it is wrong. It is not right. Like there are just thoughts in the mind of that person. Another one is actually we have obsessive compulsive. Obsessive compulsive personality disorder is the one that probably I could categorize myself in the same. These are kind of people who are perfectionists. They want things to be done in a certain order. So when you try to go against their schedule and the way they have done, even when you go in their houses, you realize they have their own ways of arranging things. They have to make sure everything is in a certain order. They know everything in the house, little tiny things. You will get even the person knows that everything where they have placed and all that. So these people actually, we can say, you see, all these kind of personality disorders, they usually grow and develop in early adulthood. Most of them. Another one we have dependent personality disorder, whereby you will see these are people who don't like who like depending on other people. You see, like they cannot, even in terms of emotional support and all that, they are kind of people who cannot actually live on their own. They need support from people. They need that kind of attachment. They always need to be around other people. They always need to be in that kind of a position where they are sharing with people, where they can be appreciated. You see, that is now dependent. And avoidant, another which is avoidant personality disorder, you will find these are kind of people who are actually again socially inhibited. They are very much socially inhibited to the extent that you will not find them with any, like they cannot attract people. You see, they cannot attract people. There are people you will find them staying in the house alone for the whole day. Like they just like that moment of solitude.
So what is the difference between avoidance and antisocial?
Yeah, you see, antisocial, these are kind of people who they can actually, we can say they can be in a social group, but they don't have that ability to socialize. They ideally can't, probably they are not that kind of a person, of a people who can, you see, we have people who are always aggressive, but now they are not aggressive. Maybe even you can be sharing something, but you will find they are the people who have contributed very much a little, or they cannot contribute at all. But now avoidant, Avoidant, you will find that these are people who are, from the very beginning, they are socially inhibited. So they are those people who don't want completely to be even in social groups. They want to be themselves. They can spend even a whole week or a month every time staying alone. They come to class, they sit alone there, they don't talk to anyone, they listen to the lecturer, they leave, they go to their rooms, they stay there and they are very comfortable. That is what they want. That's how they want to operate. And it is a disorder. So you see many people don't know. It is a disorder. It's a disorder now and so on.
So let's have another example, then we go for a
You see, now there is another very important example which I want to tackle. We have delusional disorders, delusional disorders, and when we come to delusional disorders, we realize that these ones also affect very many people in the society. We have examples like delusions of, we have erotomania. Erotomania is delusions of love. That one, I know it's quite ecumenical, but we will tackle it. Now, in that kind of an aspect, you will see a person believes he is in love with someone, you see. And probably even the person does not know. Let's say you believe you love a certain lady, and even the love that lady does not, and you are like, you have
that
a
is also
strong,
a disorder.
It is a disorder. And we have another.
We are all suffering.
You see, delusions of grandeur. Delusions of grandeur is a point whereby you will find someone views himself as very great, more than he is. Like for example, this is a kind of a person you will find even when they are going to a function or something of the sort. They want to be recognized. When you look at them, actually you will find how they view themselves is not exactly how they are. Maybe they even don't hold any position, but in themselves they have over optimism. This kind of people where will find that in any given point and in any given group where they are, they want to take the day. It is quite different from histrionic that we were talking about, the attention seeker. Them now, they don't seek attention, but they view themselves as very great. So apart from that one, another one we can say we have persecutory delusions. So that kind of a delusion whereby a person, you are thinking things which does not exist. You see, sometimes even in your, like, maybe we can relate it to what we call hallucinations. You are hallucinating things which does not exist. Maybe you are thinking of, hey, I am going to have, like, I have a car and all that. You see, when you find those people who are drunkard, what they go through is now the same, that type of delusions. Drunkard, someone is walking, you see, I am the Prime Minister of Kenya, you see, I'm the President of the US, and no one can tell me anything. I'm going to take you tomorrow to Dubai, and someone is, because of drunkardness. You see, so from there...
So drug abuse has got a relationship with mental illness? A
very big relationship. From there, I will tackle a little bit on one of the mental illness which affects all people. We have dementia. We call it organic disorders. We have dementia and delirium, but I will just tackle dementia. Dementia is actually one of the mental illness which is majorly associated with loss of cognition and behavior, whereby someone becomes forgetfulness, loss of concentration, people are indecisive, yeah, like that. So you will find it also happen among the young people, but it is majorly with the old. So as the person ages, dementia becomes real, whereby they become forgetful. But again, the reason why, by the way, there's a point you said about, you asked about the drug abuse now with mental illnesses. So you will find now in that point, you will find the people who take bank, they will go through the same kind of a situation. They will become forgetful. Someone can actually come and even maybe come with a different shoe. I have had an experience where a person comes to my room with a shoe, and then he leaves his shoes, he goes with mine. So he goes with that shoes of mine, he leaves it in another person's place, he takes another person again, and then he comes with it, you see. So like you forget very fast. You can even sometimes forget that you have put your phone in the pocket, and you start looking for it. So it happens so much. So there are very many disorders, there are very many mental disorders, and if we can continue discussing it, we will not finish.
Okay, we are taking a short commercial break. This is Youth Root, and we are discussing on mental illness. I am with Dr. Robin Ibuloi. We're discussing matters to do with the mental illness and psychiatry. So stay tuned. We're taking a short commercial break, then we'll be back. And also when I come back, I'll be going through the messages that you sent, questions about the mental illness. Stay tuned. Thank you so much, dear audience, for keeping your screen youth route. Today we are discussing on matters to do with mental disorder and psychiatry. And I'm with Dr. Robin Ibuloi. We've been discussing different types of mental illness. That is after we discovered, or after we were told, what mental illness is all about. Now we will be continuing with the conversation. Welcome back, Daktari. So let's go into now, what is the role of young people in mental health awareness? What is the role of young people?
Yes, all right. You see, young people, they are actually the core of the society. Young people, they are actually the future of any country. You see, the moment the young people are going to be unstable, the moment we are going to destabilize the role of young people in the society, then our country is going to fall into chaos. The only way any country can manage to save itself is by making sure they are going to invest in their young people. And actually, if we could look at it in this point of view, in the words of this great man, the former president of the U.S., George, it's called F. Kennedy. That guy, is one thing which he said which was very important in that time in his society which he was living in the revolution that he was trying to bring in the United States in terms of the young people. And John F. Kennedy said that, you see, a society whose young people are in a constant state of slumber will not realize their potential. And this statement is very relevant to our current society. The moment we are going to invest in the young people, the moment young people themselves are going to join hands and try and see how are we going to put this country into another level. Because at the moment, young people are not the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of today. And if there is any revolution that we want to bring in a country, like our country Kenya, then we need to start it now. And we can only start it by being sober. When we are suffering from illnesses like mental illness, we cannot be sober, and we cannot solve anything in the society. So if we can get young people to become advocates of mental illnesses, to become advocates of mental health, because you cannot be healthy when your mind is disturbed.
You can't.
If you can try to pick it up from the previous conversation, you see I say that health is a state whereby we have complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just absence of a disease. So you see, the moment we remove the aspect of mental wellness there, we will find that we are no longer healthy. When we remove the aspect of social well-being, we are no longer healthy. So if we can find people coming up with campaigns, joining up together, even in churches, when you can find in forums, and even we have seminars, so that we can try to mobilize other people, and we make them aware of how we can live healthy in terms of our minds and our mental capacity. It can be something which is going to take us to another level, because you can see recent statistics has given us very odd feelings, and we see our young people are suffering very much from mental illnesses, whereby you see people are killing themselves just because of failing exams. And the reason why all those things are happening is because people do not have hope. So if we can find young people who can be able to impact some kind of hope to people, those young people who can be able to show them that there is just more to life, just more than failing an exam. There is just more to life, just more than losing maybe a girlfriend. Yesterday I was sharing with a friend of mine, and I realized that this friend of mine lost his girlfriend this year. This year, the beginning of this year, and it is a very traumatic event. You see, it is better to lose someone through a heartbreak than to lose someone through death. So it is something which was very traumatic unto him, It took him a long time to recover. But now, you see, like this guy, from the sharing that we had with him, is someone who is born again. And you find the reason why Christians can stand very much in such kind of a situation is because they have a source of hope.
Yeah,
so
sure.
basically what I'm trying to emphasize on that, the role of young people is that we need to empower others. And the moment we have empower other young people, even them they will see now. You see, there's one thing that I like, and if the only way you can bring acceptance in this society is by getting those people who feel as if they are not accepted, those people who feel as if life has got no meaning, and we try to bring some meaning unto their life. And how can we bring that kind of a meaning? We can bring meaning unto their life by being there for them, by showing them the way, by showing them that it is possible that you can find your way again. Even when they have lost, accepting them the way you have find someone who is in rugged, someone who has been deep in drug abuse. But if you can be able to accept those people and you live with them the way they are, and they see that aspect of love and acceptance, then at the end of it, we will have bring far much greater impact than earning 1 million shillings per month. That is what we can focus on. And if young people can come up with that kind of a strategy, which actually we are building it up, now we are coming up with a great team which we are going to advocate for mental health, so that we can try to reduce the kind of effect which is bringing in our side, because many people are suffering.
So do we have a positive mental disorder and negative mental disorder? Because like you said, there is this disorder where you just want perfection, you want everything in perfection. So can we say that we have positive or both are just negative disorders?
You see, when you are talking about the aspect of personality, you will realize that every person has different personality. You see? Like for example, the one I told you about, I told you about paranoid, right? You see, paranoid, I said it is suspicion, whereby it's just someone is always suspicious that people are talking about me. Yeah, people don't love me. You see, you always have that feeling that people don't love me. You see, the moment you have a feeling of people not loving you, it will not be at your advantage.
It is a negative.
Because this is something which is going to make you to develop enmity. It's going to make you to hate people for no reason. But now you see, this person who is obsessive compulsive, this is a kind of a person who wants perfection.
So can we say that is positive?
We can say that one is positive, and now paranoid is negative. But now that one is only in the aspect of personality disorders. But when you go to issues to deal like dementia, schizophrenia, depression, there is no positivity in there.
Sure.
Because those are things which are really eating people in the society.
So let us just speak briefly about the state of students in the university, like in the campus. So what is the general health situation? We can say that people are suffering from mental illness at large, or what can you say? What is the general situation, general health situation of the campus?
You see, in campus, you see, many campus students don't know themselves. So that is usually the problem. Many people are even, they have been in campus even for a long time. Many people are even, you see, one of my goals as a mentor and as a person who is passionate about mental health is that I want to make sure and I want to impact very many people between the age of 20 to 30 so that these people can make rightful decisions. But throughout these things that I've been doing, mentorship and all that, one thing that I've realized is that many young people, they have not come into that capacity of understanding themselves. People are still discovering themselves. So many people have not answered the questions of who am I? Many people have not answered the question of what do I want in life? So you mean the moment you are living a life whereby it is a life which is not purpose driven, you will find you will be in a dilemma and a confusion, because you don't know what am I supposed to do tomorrow. You don't know what am I supposed to focus on. You see, the moment you answer the question of who am I and what do I want, if you have answered that question, you get to understand your purpose. You get to now start living a purpose-driven life. And now from that point, you see, any person who knows what he wants, he does not live in the rhetoric. These are people who are able to come up with principles. Now you devise a way of where you want to be tomorrow. And see, if a few young people, that is actually what we are trying to create in our society, because we want people to understand themselves. We don't want young people to live in that kind of a dilemma. And if we can manage to encourage them and try to bring them on board, so that we can make sure a certain percentage of young people, they have reached to a point of understanding themselves at this age. Because the age of 20, 30 is usually an age of decision making. Basically, in our society, you can say the state of mental health is not good. Just recently, we had a case of some students who killed themselves. A guy killed himself and killed the girlfriend. Okay, he killed the girlfriend and then he killed himself. Yeah, you see, that one is very bad. Why? Because of it is the relationship issues. And it is very bad to hear something like just another. Was it last year? Was it last year when we had another guy decided to commit suicide because of relationship issues again? And you find the reason why all these things are happening, it is because of peer pressure, because already of people who have. You see, let me tell you, my brother, anytime you reach a point whereby you see you have put your value onto someone so much, or you have put your value onto something which you know you can lose easily, the moment you lose that thing, let's say you have been spending a lot of cash, thousands of cash in a girl, and then finally the girl leaves. It leaves a very big gap, and you see that emotional gap, many people don't have that. They have not built the tenacity to be able to hold that. They have not built the emotional strength which is going to be able to sustain them during that season of breakup. And now that is, you see, they find themselves killing themselves, because you see, you live in pain, you live in regret. There is emotional trauma for so long, to the extent that you don't see any meaning in life. So if we can bring this type of people on board, and then we try to sit down with them and we show them that life is just more. It is more than just killing yourself. It's more than having a lady. There are very many ladies outside there. So the one thing that I can advise the young people is, let's try in as much as we can to put our value to a goal. Let's attach our value to a goal. And if you attach your value to a goal, definitely you find meaning. And the moment you find meaning, that is a purpose which you will start working on each and every day. At least you can have that capability of waking up in every morning and asking yourself one question: what am I going to do today, so that I can impact the life of people, so that I can change my life, so I can change the life of my family. So it is not just all about other people. It's all about first building yourself. Even as a leader, you cannot lead unless you lead yourself. You are supposed first, your life should be a reflection of what you are going to present to other people. It's always that. The greatest motivation you can give to people is how you are living. So that is it.
There is a message somebody sent me yesterday. Is there a difference between a mental disorder and ego? Or how does ego and mental disorder relate?
Oh, ego.
Like somebody's egocentric or what have you.
See, there is something, a statement which it is quite funny, but it is true anyway. In mental illness, almost everyone is suffering from mental illness, the way I say it. And you see, ego is a stage of growth. Ego is a stage of growth. And when you could look at some theories which try to explain growth stages from a child to an old person, you realize that people start in a stage of id, whereby people want everything to come the way they are. And this gratification which people usually want is also usually manifested in certain acts of human beings, like, for example, sex. You see, when you reach a point of having sex with a lady, you find that point of sex, they will reach a point of no control. So that is one thing we call the id, whereby you want that gratification immediately, like, I want it and I want it now, you see. So that one works with children. You will find children, when they want anything, they want it. When you deny them, they cry. So it is like that. Now in ego you'll find, or I don't know what you meant with that ego, but let me explain it because I started explaining in terms of the stages of growth. Ego now is a point whereby nowadays you have started understanding yourself, right? After you have understood yourself, there is a way you want to be treated, right? and there are some things which you are doing previously, at least you know some gratification can be delayed.
Sure.
But now we cannot say ego is a mental disorder, but when we are talking about the issue of grandiose, this kind of people who want to be seen everywhere, these people who are attention seekers, these people who view themselves as great, these people who will always put on very well or shouting colors, they want to be seen everywhere. In any kind of a congregation where they are, you will find them, okay, egocentrism is a condition whereby you will find this person has built something inside of him which he believes it should make him more important than any other person. You see, so that kind of self-importance is what we call ego. And ego, it is something which can be, the reason why I told you it's a stage of growth is because you see it is something which can be reduced. You see, sometimes maybe there's a way you could view issues. There's a time of ideology change. You have ideas, but you have to change them based on the situation you go through. So after life itself might shape someone, you might go through a situation which will make you now go down. Because you see, even in the Bible, for God to elevate you, you have to calm down. Yeah, you have to calm down for you to be elevated. You cannot elevate yourself. So the issue of ego is not actually, I cannot say it's a mental disorder.
Thank you so much. So as we do parting shots, what is the, as we finish, is mental disorder evitable? Can we fight, or how can we prevent the mental disorder?
Okay, there are many ways which we can prevent mental disorders.
Just a few.
But now I will tackle on a few. One thing, you see, the only way you can be able to prevent this disorder is by creating an environment of social hygiene. If we have social hygiene, whereby our interactions between other people is not based on the value that we place on them, but it is based on who we are. Ideally, if we can be true to ourselves, the moment we build our own capacity as individuals, so the best way of preventing a mental illness is by focusing on yourself. Because if you have built that emotional strength, because I will lie to you when I tell you that challenges will not come. Because it is challenges actually which takes people to depression. It's challenges which takes people to delusions and all those disorders that I've been talking about. It is traumatic events which takes people there. But I will lie to you, I will be lying to you if I tell you that those challenges will not come, because they will be there. But now, how can we be able to make sure that we are going to go through those challenges and come out strong? Now it's by building a strong emotional strength. So if we can have that kind of an emotional strength, we can be able to sustain it. We can build a hope. And how can we build a hope? We can only build a hope by discovering our purpose. So it is a way of understanding ourselves. And if we as young people, because my primary point of view and my primary point of focus is young people. If we young people, we can discover ourselves. If we young people, we can come to a point whereby we have discovered our purposes and we start working on them. Then I don't think, you see, even the disappointment that will come with it will be inevitable, because you will find at the end of it, you have already devised a way, and you know any way that you have devised, there will be failures, and you can be able to handle them now as they come. You see, the moment you are strong, how can you build that kind of a tenacity? How can you build the strength which is going to enable you to go through challenges? Because you cannot be strong unless challenges comes to strengthen you. It's only challenges which can strengthen you. And the only way that you can be strengthened now to reach a point whereby at least you can say that this person, you see, let's talk about, there's one statement which I like so much from this guy called Lumumba. This guy Pierre Lumumba, which is a great man that I admire so much. You see, this is a man who has that capability of even going into a country and speaking against their evils as it is. So you have to reach a point whereby you can sit down with yourself. My friend, take yourself into the arena of action and thoughts. Ask yourself, is my life going into the rightful direction? Ask yourself tough question. Put yourself in a point of meditation and ask yourself, take it, how can we, how can I make sure at least to change? Like you see, you cannot change anything which you have not sit down and ask yourself very much about it. You say. So the only way you can change certain kind of things is taking yourself into the action. You ask yourself, you see you are going into a wrong way. You can now consult yourself and make radical changes. It's not easy to make a radical change, but you can make it. It is possible. Again, don't be alone. If you have people and have friends, be that kind of a person who is ready to share with others. Share with the people the problems you are going through. The problem why many young people are they are not in that position is because of the things like and the social I've been telling you about. People choose to keep the things to themselves, and the moment you keep them to yourself, hey, my brother, you keep overburdening yourself. Your mind keeps on overburdening itself. Now, the moment you share it, a portion of the problem has been shared to other people.
Thank you so much. So, as we finish, what is your last advice to the audience? Just for 1 minute. Your last word to the audience that have been viewing you through today.
The last word which I can tell you people, my fellow brethren, is that let all of us join. Let all of us focus on one thing. Let's join hands as young people so that we can fight this one monster called mental illnesses. And I can tell you we will be ahead. We will be moving ahead so that we can live in a better society for a better tomorrow. So a better future. And as young people, we can build a healthy social hygiene in our lives just by fighting this monster called mental illness. And at the end of it, we are going to appreciate this energy that we will be channeling as a team, because unity is always strength.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Robin, for having time with us today in Youth Root. I do appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear audience, for keeping your screen Youth Root today. That has been our topic today. We've been discussing matters to do with the mental disorder and psychiatry. Thank you for being with us. My name is Saquinto. Until next time, same place, same time. Goodbye for now.